G'day battlers, we are live again. Well, we were live on Twitch, link in the description. And today we're going to be talking about how Silph actually goes about building metas. And we're here with the one, the only, the head of the Silph Meta Development Team, Krydos. So I probably should have asked how exactly to say that beforehand. But let's just jump into it. Krydos, the man is here. Who the heck are you? Tell us about yourself.
Who am I? Okay, my real name is Bastian. I'm from Chile. I'm 20 years old, 28 years old, not 20, 28. I'm an economist. That's my profession. I work at the local Securities and Exchange Commission. So I'm a financial analyst, kind of. We regulate the stock market, so it's kind of fine. It's a pretty good job. So I really enjoy it. What else about me? I have been playing Pokemon since I was a kid. I never got the pleasure to have a console like a Game Boy Advance or anything like that. So my first steps were on emulators, just like a bunch of my friends and I guess most of the world. And since then, I have been in love with Pokemon. To be honest, I'm not a big fan of Pokemon. Like, I don't know. I'm a big fan of Star Wars, for example. Like, if I have to choose between Pokemon and Star Wars, it's always gonna be Star Wars for sure.
So but when Star Wars Go comes out, we're losing you. You're gone.
Yeah, exactly. But Pokemon has something different. Like, you can be at any part of the world, and there will always be someone that knows what a Pokemon is. Like, they will know who Charmander or Bulbasaur or Squirtle is. So that's always to be fun. Not even to mention Pikachu, who's the most popular Pokemon like ever. And that's pretty much about me. I like this game. I consider myself a hardcore player, I guess.
That's what you've ticked on the Silph card.
Yeah, not really. I think I'm the only one that plays like a lot, and the rest play just like a regular player, which is fine. And I'm not as hardcore as Brandon Tan or like
they don't count. They're like an extra little level.
It's impossible. It's impossible. It's possible. But I consider myself hardcore. For example, last week I was raiding Mewtwo nonstop to get enough Excel candy to power up one all the way to level 50, and I did it. So yeah, I'm happy with that kind of play. I'm not super into PvP in terms of playing. I don't enjoy that much GVL. I really enjoyed Silph, of course.
But, you better.
Yeah. But I prefer to watch others play. Like, I really enjoy watching esports and sports in general. For example, I'm really bad at football, but I really love to watch football. And this is the same. Like, I'm not really good at PvP. I haven't invested that much time in PvP. Like, I know the basics, I know the mechanics, I know like relations between Pokemons, but I'm not really good like at the level of like pro players in Pokemon Go. So I'd rather be like in the outside, watching. Yeah, I really love analyzing stuff. Like, for every single game I play, I really love like the analysis part, the numbers, like, that kind of stuff. That's why I'm like creating metas more than like just playing them and trying to be the very best,
Yeah, and from that, from the analysis in the real world as the full-time money-paying gig, going into the Silph realm, actually, that is the next question. How did you actually first get involved with Silph and Pokemon Go in general? Because sometimes they're somewhat tied together in a way.
I have been playing this game since it was released here in Chile, I guess, 2016. Yeah. Then I stopped for like 6 months at the beginning of 2017, and I came back when raids were first announced, like Lugia and Articuno. Like, I came back there. I was always like searching for content in the internet, so Reddit was always one of my main like sources of good info. And somehow I got to the Silk Road subreddit, I started to interact with some posts, like asking questions, that kind of stuff. And then one person from Chile asked me if I wanted to join a WhatsApp group. At that time, it was called like the Silph Road Chile, but it was not affiliated with like the real Silph Road. After that, I realized we didn't have a ranger. I mean, we have one, but that ranger was not playing that much. He was more into Ingress. So I asked him if I could like join the Silph Road. So I started as a guide, like everyone else. And then when he quit, I became the ranger. I was super like into the Silph Road. I was doing research in the research group. I was in the subreddit every single day. I was posting content, infographics from my local group. And then PvP came out. At the time, I was not very close to Mugen, who is the director of the arena, and he helped to create the arena as it is today. But we were like talking each day, so I knew the arena was like coming, like metas and all the stuff. I didn't join at the beginning. So, for example, at Boulder Cup, I was just like everyone else, just a player, a TO, hosting like the first Boulder Cup here in Santiago, Chile. And then I was like asking how to help in the arena, like anything. If they need like help with translations or help with analysis, help with the metas, whatever, And he said, okay, if you want to join and if you're going to work, because I don't want someone who is like wanting to join us just to say, hey, I'm part of the arena. I'm a cool guy, So I joined the meta team. And at that time, the meta team was pretty big, I guess, because everyone was involved, like from Trumps to like me, everyone was part of the meta team. Like everyone had ideas, different metas, different options. So they came up with Twilight and then Tempest, which were pretty similar to Boulder. And then something happened. That's something, it's called Kingdom Cup. If you remember that, Lucario, Bastion, and Altaria were pretty much everywhere. Lucario was impossible to get. Bastion, you need to get it all the way to level 40. So the meta was, I guess, okay. It was heavy RPS, but it was okay. But people didn't like it that much. And, it's because it was
I
pretty
liked
much...
it, probably only because I won.
Yeah. The only people that liked it were those who won like a cup there. But if you didn't win anything at all, you really dislike the meta. And I have a lot of friends that were like, hey, what the fuck is meta? Why is so like expensive to build this team? I don't even get it. And I was like, yeah, I'm agree with you. I'm part of the meta team, but I don't make decisions. I just like help with numbers, help with analysis and everything. So after that, there were a lot of changes in the arena, especially in the meta team. I wasn't promoted like instantly to like head of the meta team. We built a meta team with a lot of other people that helped me like for 2 or 3 months, and then all of a sudden I was alone there because people started to take another responsibilities like social media, like rules, legislation, like building the rest of the system. So
sure.
Like I woke up a day and I was like head of the meta team, but it was me. It was only me. I was alone. So yeah, that's like kind of my story. It's I think it's longer, but that's like a good resume of what happened.
So nowadays, as far as like the meta team is concerned, is it still kind of just you at this point, or if you started to bring in some more blood?
It's not anymore. The problem I see, and one of the reasons I don't play actively in the arena is because I don't like to be part of those who are creating metas and also those who are playing the meta, because not now, but before I felt like it was like I having inside information just because I'm creating the meta. So if certain Pokemon, pretty rare, is gonna be like super good at any meta, then I have all the incentives to like get one earlier, to build one. If it's super rare, I'm going to be like the only one having it. Now it's pretty much easier because you can trade, you can like do a lot of stuff to get your Pokemon, but back then it was pretty hard. So I felt like it was inappropriate, and I decided to not play actively. I play at like local communities, pretty small communities, only with my friends, and like not participating in regionals or continents or anything related.
Just having the casual fun side of the forest.
Yeah. And now the team, we are 3 people on the team, I guess. And they are a lot of help. One is Ian. He has been in a lot of streams, I guess. So I think you know him pretty well. He's super good with numbers. He developed a tool to test team of 3 and see how they develop in certain metas, and that has been a lot of help.
Is that PvP Stratus?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. And the other person is, I guess you already know, is Matt from People. He is literally, he's literally a god. He's super good. He's super helpful for sure. And he helps us a lot. Recently, everyone has been a little bit busier than usual. Me with my actual job, they with their stuff. Like Matt has to keep their site running always, and Ian also has in real life stuff. So we try to do our best with the limited resources we have, and try to create the best meta as possible. I also think like I would never like share that Matt is part of the team, but I guess it's also not pretty nice to have him like behind the curtains, behind the scenes, just because he's like from People. So he has been super helpful, like since the beginning, since People was created. He was always like posting our content, developing rankings for the metas. That's like the principal tool, like the best tool you have to build your teams for the Silph metas.
If we didn't have him, we would be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if any other person would be capable of like developing a site like People, because the site is pretty good. Like it really has everything. It's super well updated. Like something came up, Matt is there. That's super helpful for everyone. Not only, well, it was at first for only Silph content because Silph Arena was created before GVL, but now for GVL, a lot of people discovered People with GVL, and I guess they love it too. So yeah, it's pretty
easy
helpful.
To love.
Yeah, and to be fair, a lot of people have wanted to join us at the meta team, but the more people you have, the harder it is to get like a consensus in terms of metas.
Sure.
Like if you have an idea, and any of us, like the 3 of us, have any like, hey, I don't like this, or I think this is like too powerful, or I think I have no feedback for you. It's pretty hard to create a meta with a lot of people, and that was what happened at the very beginning. Like you have a team of 10 people giving opinions, saying that, hey, this is better, no, this is better, these are my numbers, by the way, these are my numbers. So at that time was pretty rough to create a meta. So I rather to keep it like small, but I think it works pretty well.
Yeah, sure. And I guess we really should get into that like proper meat and potatoes of like how a meta is actually created. We've kind of like skirted around the edges a bit as far as how it's actually produced. Like it's up to you how you kind of want to present it. If we want to look at it in terms of the Vortex Cup specifically, like how the Vortex Cup is built, if you just want to maybe kind of talk just in general to like how it goes from, all right, next month is April. we have to build a meta. We've got to release it at about, the 20 whatever of March. Let's go. Let's build a meta, folks.
Yeah.
How does that kind of get done?
To be honest, there is no a single process we follow to create a meta. It all depends on each month, to be honest. For example, for March, like I say you before the stream, I already have an idea, since December, I guess, of what March would like to present a meta that is open, but also has every single popular and overpowered mon band. Also, we had the feedback from Labyrinth, which is always great. So it was pretty easy to create Vortex, but also Vortex as a name, as a badge, has nothing to do with the meta. If you try to connect them, there is no connection. Vortex,
I was actually really thinking about that at the start. I was like,
for me, it was like Tempest. For example, Tempest was everything about electric types, ice type,
water types. Oh, actually, no. Ice type was instead of water.
It was ice types, flying types, electric types, ground type, just like an hurricane or I don't know, a tornado. I don't know.
Yeah, that had a real thematic Vortex, sort of base.
Yeah, in Vortex, it was all about just having a nice badge, having a nice name for a meta that has nothing to do with them, with the design.
Fair enough. I mean, but Vortex usually, is kind of just everything's getting encompassed in the Vortex.
Yeah. But
maybe the Chinese has got Vortexed away.
Yeah, exactly. The Vortex, just eat them, eat the Charmers, eat the Azumariils, eat the, that kind of Pokemon. But in general, a meta is born in two ways. The first one is when you have an idea based on a design. Our guy who made every single batch, Sue, he is great at designing stuff, naming stuff. So, for example, for some months, we already know the name even before the meta was created. So we try to connect the meta with the name and the batch. So, for example, with March, we had a batch and a name before the meta was created. So we tried to compose a meta with certain types so they can work with the team. In the case of Labyrinth or Vortex, it was all about creating first our meta, trying to make it balanced, and then just designing the badge, choosing the name. In the case of Sunrays and Nightfall, it was all about the theme, the Sunrays of a new season, and then it's the Nightfall is the first part of the season is closing. So what could it be calling that a Nightfall?
Just some extra sort of thematic bits.
Yeah. In season 2, we tried to get more thematic, I guess. So, for example, we started with Sinister, which was all about Halloween. Then we went to Ferocious. I know a lot of people is not a fan of Ferocious. I'm personally not a fan of Ferocious either.
The dreaded Ferocious.
But I want to...
The bane of...
Yeah. I want to give you the insights of Ferocious, because Ferocious was not always about quadrupeds, as it is. It was about the launching of Pokemon Sword and Shield. So Samacent and Zacian are quadrupeds, and the colors were blue and red, right? Sword Shield was blue. Sword was blue, Shield is red. So the theme was all about that. Was just a hint to Sword and Shield that no one caught. So I was okay.
We're just too confused by all this playlist. Full leg, 2-leg tail.
It's just bees with tails and 4 legs. It's fine, whatever you want to call it. But that was the original idea.
That's really interesting.
Of course, it was pretty unbalanced because no one had Umbreon Legacy at a time. So it was one of our worst cup in terms of feedback, but we learned. I personally learned a lot to never make that mistake again, because if something is really inaccessible, you can make a meta where the most powerful Pokemon is also the most inaccessible one. So from Ferocious until now, we try to not have like top 10 Pokemons that are inaccessible, you know. So
which is definitely a good goal after that. I mean, so obviously from then we've actually become, the community in general has just become so much more, we need every single possible Pokemon. If this could ever be good for PvP, we are making sure that we will get this thing. Exactly. So I think it might not even quite happen again to the same extent as the Ferocious Last Resort Umbreon deal. But yeah, definitely a good thing to know is kind of being kept in mind to make sure that none of us explode at not being able to access this particular Pokemon.
What happened next after like Ferocious was the introduction of GBL. And with GBL, Niantic started to like make a lot of changes to GBL, not only at the mechanic level, but also to moveset, to Pokemon, introducing new moves. Like, has been a hectic year. Like, besides the pandemic, all the changes in PvP, I think made PvP a lot better, but also it's more challenging to create metas because certain Pokemons are always there, like Galarian, Stunfisk, Abomasnow, Azumarill. Like, those Pokemons are pretty hard to balance, and if you don't ban them, then the meta will be condensated and concentrated in just about picking one of them and trying to build your team around them, which is pretty boring once you have done that, I don't know, 2-3 times. Like, if 3 times in a row you have a cup where Azumarill is like a must in your team, then you're gonna get bored. And why just don't play like GBL, you know, where you can find Azumarill 2 out of 3 games.
Yeah.
So after Ferocious, we decided to take, I don't know, time off with thematic cups. So we did Timeless and Fusion. Those cups were not thematic at all. It was just all about trying to have better metas, a little bit more balance, using new Pokemon.
In saying that, like, Timeless obviously did have a nice little aspect of like to wrap it all together, where you had to pick one starter Pokemon. Which was a very cool feature. That was nice,
I guess. Yeah. I think that was one of my favorite cups. And then we came back with Rose Cup, which was all about Valentine's and love. And, you know, like just like Love Cup, we did it for February's in 2020 or last year.
Yeah.
And then the pandemic. And with the pandemic, numbers rised a lot because a lot of players were able to play in Silph Arena without them having to move to play in-person tournaments. Some of them live in pretty, far places from big cities, big communities. So they were unable to play before, and now they were able to play in the arena. So we need to focus our metas in Pokemon that were at that time more present in GBL. So we started with Toxic Cup, which was pretty bad naming for a cup happening where the pandemic started. Like, it was pretty weird.
Yeah, nice one.
Like, Toxic Cup, nice one, guys. Yeah, it was pretty weird. It was pretty inconvenient. And the rest of the season was all about Continentals, regionals, creating metas that were more challenging. We did Voyager, we did Forest, which was not very good. We did Sorceress, which was pretty good. Creating metas is exhausting. It's pretty exhausting because you have to think, like I said, in a theme or in a meta that is pretty balanced, that you can name somehow, like Vortex. If you have any of those, then it's all about number, it's all about cores, it's all about which Pokemon are like present at the top 10 and the top 25, trying to balance out everything so people like kind of find their play style, and they can find a team, they can build a team that is not against their playstyle. Because when a meta is bad and everything is RPS, for example, I don't know, let's say we do a meta which is just fire, grass, and water types. That meta is bad. It's pretty bad. But you have to build a team composing like only from Pokemon for those, with those typings, and it's all RPS. Like if you catch the lead, you win the match, and there is nothing else you can do. So those metas are not pretty good, and we try to bow them. Sometimes we don't get good enough metas. Sometimes we do pretty good metas, just like Sorcerers, or I think Vortex is also pretty good. I hope it's good. So yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's kind of hard. But
yeah, sure.
Wait. Like when Mel is talking to me something. I know she's not. She's just playing with me that I win against her. Like every time we play in our like regular cups in the Silph team.
Have some confidence, Mr. Krydos. But I guess obviously when you put together a meta, like you've mentioned a couple of things, you have to make sure it's not RPS. You have to make sure that there's not this one particular Galarian Stunfisk that is going to run the whole thing. There's all of these things you have to tick off. Is there actually like sort of a checklist that you go through when building meta to make sure like that is none of these things, that it's not going to be, again, centralized around a Pokemon that is a little bit inaccessible as well.
After Kingdom, Drums was pretty involved with every single meta, like not creating them, but having the final word in terms of, okay, this meta is ready to go, or this meta needs some adjustment. Not in terms of balance, like this Pokemon is super powerful, because Drums was never like that technical, but he has a list consisting of, I don't know, 8-10 points. And it's all about accessibility for Pokemon. What is the cost to build a team that is like meta, not a random team? I mean, you can pick only starters and it's pretty cheap, but
but whether that's like a viable
real meta
team.
Yeah, and also in terms of playability, in terms of the theme, the concept behind it, and a lot of other stuff that I can talk about, but it's pretty boring.
I mean, that's what we're here for, man. We're here for the boring detail.
The boring data.
The nitty-gritty, the stuff that's behind it all.
Before PvPoke was like what is now, I used game press tools, like the PvP Matrix it was called. I don't remember. So it was all manually. Like we didn't have the tools PvPoke gives us like today. So everything was about spreadsheets, numbers, calculations, percentage, that kind of stuff.
Dream.
So yeah, my dream. It was my dream, actually. Now it's pretty much easier with PvPoke, but at that time, everything was like all about spreadsheets. So I had to present the meta to Drums. He needed to see the numbers, see the win rates, that the top Pokemon are not super expensive, because before GVL, people only invested in PvP to play Silph Arena. So we didn't have the excuse to, for example, I don't know, run Galarian Stunfisk that is great in GVL, so we can use it in every single meta we do. But for example, with Vaporeon, that was pretty good in Ferocious. Who's gonna build a Vaporeon for anything other than like flexing or using at gyms or raids? Not even raids, because it's not even the best PV water type. So it was all about that. Like Vaporeon, for example, was not pretty cheap, but it was cheap considering like other options. So yeah, the list is long. And we were discussing like final touches to metas for 2-3 hours, even 2-3 days. Different calls, a lot of Discord messages, DMs, Telegram. Like, it was exhausting, but it helped a lot, because now you don't need to make that checklist like every single time, because you already know what you have to do. So it's pretty much easier. And also with GVL, and Stardust rewards, is pretty easy to find a way to make some Pokemons be pretty good. Also, GBL and Niantic is helping a lot with their cups. So now I would say like there are only a few Pokemons that can be meta that we can use yet. I would like to use a lot of them, but we can't because they are way too expensive or way too rare. So
sure.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that I talked to a couple of people before this just to see if they had any, sort of questions, things that were kind of on their mind about Silph metas. And one thing that a lot of people did talk about is the fact that, like, obviously in this season, the first couple metas, your Sunrise, your Marsh, were definitely sort of geared towards that sort of GBL sort of experience.
Yeah.
So there were those picks like, your Galarian Stunfisk, your Abomasnow, Skarmory was in Sunrise. Yep. There were these picks that were like, people playing GBL will have these picks. They can come into Silph Arena. They can play some battles using these, like, top meta picks, give them a chance to kind of play around with it while still also banning like the top of the top, your Azumarill. Actually, we did see Azumarill in Marsh, but it wasn't like a really OP Pokemon in that, which is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel like I had to use Azumarill. As we've kind of moved through the season a bit, Labyrinth and Vortex are obviously very different cups to those first couple. They're, such just wide, diverse metas. But I've still seen a couple of people talking about how there's still like a lot of those GBL picks. I think I'm interjecting a little bit myself, but I feel like it's a little bit of a case of there are just so many viable picks in GBL now that like anything can be a GBL pick.
Anything can be GBL.
But is that like, how have you kind of approached this season? Obviously there is that distinction. For the rest of the season, can we expect more of these sort of wide open metas, maybe less GBL geared sort of deals, or like?
Yes, that's a question I can answer for sure. Actually, at the start of the season, we decided that the first part of the season was going to be pretty much GBL-ish, like Pokemon that are good at GBL that people already have built. That's gonna be all about the first part of the season 3. So Nightfall, March, and Sunrise were all about Galarian Stunfisk, Skarmory, Azumarill, that kind of things. And it was great because people didn't have to spend any Stardust because they are already playing GBL, so they already have those Pokemon built. And it was fine because those metas also were pretty much straightforward, like because types were involved. It's pretty easy to say like, hey, ice beats grass, grass beats water, water beats fire, that kind of relationship. And it's pretty easy, it's pretty straightforward for them to build teams, to know how the meta is going to develop. So yeah, that was like our first approach to the season. But everything has a consequence, and the consequence is that second part of the season is gonna be 100% Silph Arena themes, thematics, like the spirit of the arena from season 2 and now in second half of the season 3 is gonna be all about more open metas, not necessarily metas built around typings or like allowing types or banning types, but more about allowing certain Pokemon, certain clusters of Pokemon, maybe some whitelists, why not? Just like Ferocious or
Ferocious 2.0 is coming
Ferocious
back.
Ferocious 3.5, it's coming your way. But also we have something very special for regionals. We have something very special for continentals, like something even more challenging than last season. Last season, Voyager was really challenging, but one team was pretty good at Voyager, so everyone used that. Like by the end of the month, everyone was using the same team, so it was not that fun. And for Continentals, it was pretty good, I guess, but we failed at banning Stunfisk, like the regular one. So everyone had to go with with that in their teams, and that made the meta not pretty good. I mean, it was fun, I guess. People like it, but it would be better if we would ban like the Galarian, the Galarian, the Stunfisk, non-Galarian Stunfisk. So yeah, single part is gonna be all about Silph Arena. Like the core of the Silph Arena is gonna be put in every single meta from like our last meta, Labyrinth, until our last meta, which is in June, I guess, or August or July. I don't remember. But
was there a deal where like the last month of the season doesn't have an official Silph Cup mentioned yet, but it's going to be like a Continentals sort of month? Was that the deal that I kind of remember reading?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know we have cups scheduled until June, which is great because we have 3 more metas ahead of us. But also, I think for July is only Continentals, but I can like be sure of that. Maybe Mel can help me, please.
Yeah,
help,
Mel, please help.
Help me.
I guess one thing that I have actually heard a little bit as well is that people just want to be forced to build stupid Pokemon again. They want to have to build that B barrel. They want to, build these things that they will perhaps never use again. Because I actually do remember maybe like a year ago, people saying like, oh, why is Silph good? Silph is good because when else would you use B-Barrel in anything in this game? Now it's actually like a useful Pokemon. Yeah. So but I guess there's always that kind of back and forth about, okay, but if you're making people build these stupid picks, then, they're going to be expensive and then it's going to, cause people it reduces accessibility. And then if you are like forcing people to build a B-Barrel, then that means that you've got a meta that is like kind of revolving around B-Barrel as well, which is another thing that's on that to avoid this. So, I mean, for a start, thank you for all that you do. Like I probably should have mentioned that earlier in the stream, but obviously there is a lot going on in the stream building process. I do actually have one important question before I go into some of these viewer, I don't know what to call them, just suggested questions from the community that I've picked up along the way. But one question before that is like, what are your like favorite metas? And if you have to pick one meta, what is the meta that you say, I wish we had more of these metas like this one? This was just peak. Well, hopefully not peak, but peak so far.
I think one of my favorite metas ever is Rainbow, because it was the first one I did all by myself without like any help. And also it was the one we used for wildcards in Chicago. So I was there, I was watching people playing Rainbow to get their invitation to Continentals, the first like in-person Continental and the only one ever in NA. So yeah, I think that's my favorite meta, and I always try to make Rainbow happen again somehow. But it's so hard now because a lot of Pokemon have been like introduced from those typings we use there, but also a lot of movesets have changed. So it's pretty hard to get another Rainbow.
Sure.
Forest was a try to get Rainbow again, and it was horrible. Like it was the worst meta from season 2, like for sure. A lot of people like it because it was pretty RPS, it was pretty straightforward. So you pick your 6, it was pretty easy to pick like Ferrothorn, Mantine, those kind of stuff, like Blaziken, and it was all about RPS. You win the lead, you win the match.
But do you think it's similar to like Kingdom Cup where you said people liked it if they won?
Yeah, so it was pretty sad. And also now I wanted to replicate Rainbow again for March, but it didn't went well. So I think it's time to leave Rainbow there, like dead in the past, because it's not happening again. It's super hard now because every single starter is so OP. Like Hydro Cannon is so OP, Blastborn is so OP, Frenzy Blend is so OP that everything is about starters. Yeah,
you're leaning yourself towards an RPS sort of deal.
Yeah, it's super hard to run. So It's fine, Rainbow. You're fine. You were good. You were pretty good. Another meta, I think, is Voyager for last regional. I think it was a pretty good meta. It was pretty solid. The problem is that some YouTube content creator sold a team that was pretty good. So after that, the meta was pretty much stale. Everyone used the same team with metal, that kind of core.
But I'm just saying, like, Voyager was my favorite cup for the entire stretch. I think it's probably my favorite meta for the entire Silph existence.
Yeah.
And I really just enjoyed that team building aspect in that cup, especially. Plus, it was really nice that I brought in Focus Blast Hypno in my Voyager Cup team, and playing with that thing in regionals was just so much fun. I remember one round in particular was just round one, game one. Focus Blast the Basidon, win the game. Game two, Focus Blast the Basidon, win the game. Game three, then there's no way he's going to get another Focus Blast. So I think just that sort of team building, I really like the team building aspect. And these last few metas have certainly been, or Vortex and Labyrinth, have been very, very open to the team building side of things.
Yeah.
To the point where, especially in these early Vortex Cups, teams are looking so different to one another.
So different, yeah.
It's really incredible.
That's what I like the most, creating metas that allow people to play really different teams without sacrificing their play style or their results. If you're building a different team that is kind of meta and you're winning tournaments with that, that's where I am the happiest one, because it means that the meta allows you to play that way. For example, in GBL, it's super hard to find off-meta picks, so you can win consistently. But in the arena, I think it's easier because people are only prepared usually for the meta picks and not for those who are a little bit more off-meta. So, for example, in Vortex, which is, I guess, a little bit more open than Labyrinth, we are going to see a lot of picks that are not like the usual ones, or at least that's what I hope. And if I have to mention another meta that was my favorite, is something that is not happening yet, but it's gonna happen in regionals and continentals. Like I said, I'm super excited for those meta. Those are already they're the rankings are ready. My mind is ready. I hope you're ready, because those will be one of the most, I guess, challenging metas in terms of team building, but also they're going to be pretty fun for those who have the chance to play them. So I really hope people like them. And if they're not, I'm out. I'm out.
We lose you forever. No more meta. Fine, you didn't like it. I quit. But
you will have Mel. You will have Mel, and every single meta will be all about Squirtle and that kind of
Surfetch
solution line.
Yeah, but now I need to get to regionals. I already needed to get to regionals, but now I'm maybe it was silly of me to try and get those monotype snowflake badges. This could come back to bite me now, but well, that is something to super excited. Look forward to regionals and Continentals. This man who has picked some good metas, he's built a lot of things that people have loved for a very long time. If he's getting excited for regionals and Continentals, we all better be excited, because it is sure to be an absolute blast. I guess we can. Oh, actually, no. Man, I'm really just delaying these other questions. But factions is another thing that is promising another couple of metas as well on the battlefield. So obviously, the floating city battlefield was the one that debuted in the All-Star Invitational, and there's kind of more battlefields expected to come in the future as well. Are they just another meta that you have to build, just all of these things that is it just another exact same meta build, but you have more work to do because there's just more metas? Is it just as gone through the same sort of hurdles, or are they being built a little bit differently? Maybe the battlefield metas are more going to be geared towards Open Great League, say, or are they going to be Silph metas essentially?
Well, first of all, I have to say factions is what makes me feel more hype about the future of the arena. Of course, our metas or regular season for like individual players is great. But factions is all about teams, is all about team building, is all about like supporting your teammates even if they lose. You're losing as a team. If you're winning, you're winning as a team. So I really love the format. It was my dream since day one, since like the moment I joined the arena. I wanted to make factions happen, and it only happened now because everything like is ready. The community is ready to have factions like live, and I hope it's soon. I know. I mean it. Like it's gonna be soon. It's gonna be soon. In terms of metas. Yeah, in terms of metas, I only help with the rankings in terms of like seeing that nothing is off. Like, for example, not having an Azumarill in a meta where Azumarill is like 99% win rate. But all the metas were created by Ian. So if you wanna get a closer look how these metas were developed, you have to talk with Ian. Next stream or in the future.
Maybe with the release of factions, we'll do another one.
Yeah, with the release of factions, and maybe Ian's gonna be, I guess, we're happy to join you. But the metas were based on, I think, a lot of analysis. He did a great job. Like, it was the greatest job I have ever seen in terms of meta creation. There are a lot of metas ready. We have 6 or 7 metas that are going to be used in factions. Floating City is just one of them. There are a lot of metas. But those metas are not so open. Like, those are more like Nightfall or Sunrise or March Cup, which were more about common picks, certain bans for overpowered Pokemon, but are closer, I guess. So it's easier to build teams. But it's because of the format of factions, because you have the opportunity, for example, to change your teams between rounds. So you will have time to prepare your team, and if your team doesn't work, you will have the chance to change your team. Not like happens now in a tournament, where if you're, I don't know, in the middle of a tournament and you are already 4 losses, you can't change your team. You are done. Like, if you are doing a bad tournament, you are completely done. In factions, it's not going to be like that. So you will have the chance to change your team, to make improvements, to talk with your teammates and see what they are doing, see what other people are playing. So these metas were created for that. That's the main goal. For Great League, Ultra League, and Master League, those are my fields, I guess. Great League, for now, it's going to be just like All-Star. It's going to be open for now, but it's because we want people from GBL that play GBL and never played in the Silph Arena to have like the same taste they have in GBL. So if we make like too many bans or too many restrictions, they will feel,
whoa, I'm out. Too complicated.
I'm out. Like, just get someone else. I'm not playing this, you know.
Jumping from a team of 3 to a team of 6 is enough of a jump.
It's different. Also, it's like blind picking against like seeing the other 6 Pokemon, and you have to just pick 3. That's completely different. For Ultra League, just like it was in the All-Star, you have to pick only one starter and only one legendary or mythical. If you want, you don't have to pick them if you want. But it was because in Ultra League, especially in GBL, starters are so good, are too much good. Like, you know, it's, if you have Swampert, if you have Venusaur, like, you can easily run Swampert, Venusaur, Charizard, and you will be able to win a lot of matches. Like, you're most likely to gonna win a lot. And that's something I don't like about Ultra League in GBL. I play GBL. Not so much, but when I play,
this is a scandal. I can't believe he's playing GBL.
I play a lot of Ultra, and I try to avoid using starters just because I like them a lot, but I try to pick something else. And to translate that factions, the only way or one of the ways was to just restricting to one starter, one legendary, and your other 4 has to be like something else. And for now, that's what we're going to use. And I hope it works well. I think in All-Star, it worked pretty well. And for Master League, which is my, I don't know, it's the league I never play in GBL. I play quite a bit, like in season 2 or 3, I guess, but it's not my favorite at all. I know it's not because I don't have the Pokemons. I have them. It's just I'm so bad at like managing like damages, like calculating how much like I don't know, an earthquake from Groudon does to a Dialga or a Kyogre. Like I'm too lazy for that, so I just play Great League and Ultra League.
Stick to what I know. Don't need any new experiences.
And for Master League, the problem we have now that we didn't have before are the Excel candies. Now, suppose that legendary raids are gonna give you Excel candy like always for sure, but we don't know how many candies. We don't know anything, so we don't want Master League to be like pay to win in terms of if like I have the chance to raid 500 Mewtwo in a week to get enough Excel candy to have a Mewtwo on level 50, then you should only be able to have just one legendary or one mythical in your team. Because if we let people to use like all the legendaries they want, those with more money and more time will be for sure able to win more. Even if they are not good enough, if you have a level 50 Mewtwo, you should be able to win against a level 40 Mewtwo. Even if it's just by a bit of HP, you should be able to win that matchup. And we don't want that. But we're also, we need to be realistic in terms of we don't have any way to see if the Pokemon that you're using are XL or no, other than the CPs you are putting in Silph.gg. And we don't have enough people to like look
able to manually review it.
Manually reviewing. That's not possible. So it's okay if you wanna use like your Excel Pokemon like Gyarados or Machamp. Those Pokemons were available and are available yet. So if you have one, you can use them. There is no problem with that. If you don't have them, of course you are in a little disadvantage, but we can't do anything because we're not Niantic. We can't like restrict the league to just Pokemon level 40 or below because we just can't. So Master League is gonna be open, but with just one legendary or mythical. Those meta will be keep that way until I guess a couple of months into factions to see how they have been developed in terms of what people are using, what people like, what people dislike, the feedback from the community. I think what makes me feel more happy about factions is that we will have a lot of feedback from the people, and we will take that feedback and throw into the can. No, that's a joke. We will take that feedback.
Speaking directly to the recycling bin.
No. We are going to take the feedback very seriously and try to make it like every single meta a little bit better. If anything is too powerful and we didn't get it now, we are definitely going to ban it. If some Pokemon that we ban is really needed in the meta to make it more balanced, we are going to allow that Pokemon in the future. But for now, we're going to test the ground. We're going to see how it goes. And I hope it goes well. And if it's not...
No, not another chance to lose him. We have to make sure Factions goes good. We have to make sure regional content was loved. And we cannot mess this up, guys. We have to do it right. But yeah, as someone who did participate in the All-Star Invitationals that was lucky enough to, I definitely had a good time, and it was really nice kind of strategizing with the team even. talking about like, the Ultra League specialists. They had to pick what starter do they need to bring. Well, most people might bring but most people might bring Swampert because they want to beat this Pokemon. So maybe I should go for Venusaur so I can counter their counter.
Yeah.
It was that sort of discussion that was it was refreshing.
I think when you're playing as a team, like for example, when you're playing Go Team Up or when you're playing like local tournaments that are based on team tournaments, I think it's a better experience for you as a player than playing you all alone. Because even if you're part of a community, even if you have friends that play with you in Silph Arena and help you developing a team, it's not like it's super like engaging. Because if you are gonna face a friend, you really want to win. Like if we both are friends and we build teams like together, but we face in a final, I want to win you. So I know your weaknesses. I know everything about you. You know everything about me, and you're gonna beat me because I'm super bad at PvP and everything, But in factions, of course, you're playing against other people too. But your friends, your teammates, are those who you can like trust them. You can trust them all. So if you want to make a change your team, you're not playing them. So if they are giving you feedback, if they are giving you advice, you should take it. And also you have the chance to analyze metas in a group with other people that have the same like goal that is of course winning.
Or wanting to succeed together.
That's the main goal, I guess. So I think that's pretty nice, and that's why I like factions a lot, because it gives you the possibility to play with friends, trying to be competitive, and I think is one step closer to making PvP an esport. I know it's hard, I know it's super difficult. Niantic is not super into sport yet. TPC is something else that sadly is like not so good for the PvP scene right now, and I hope it changes ever. but yeah, this is one step closer, and every single team format that happened since the beginning, just like I mentioned, Gold Team Up, or I think that there are a lot of team tournaments here in Latin America, also in India, also in Europe, also in NA. All of them have helped us to get factions out, because factions is like a combination of multiple formats. It's not like, oh, we invented the wheel, like we created the wheels for the first time. No, factions is something that was created looking at other formats, like having the feedback. I think it's going to be good. Hope it's great, but good is enough.
I'm excited for it. But we can finally get to those questions that some other people sent in. So one of these questions is, I guess, like, do current spawns at all impact how a meta is going to be built? So say there's the Kanto event that's coming up, Kanto Pokemon are going to be everywhere. Is there maybe more chance that a Kanto Pokemon will be a highly ranked Pokemon in here if Dino all of a sudden is going to be released as this widely accessible? It is going to be 95% of spawns. Everyone's getting as wireless now. Is that taken into consideration when building meta at all?
Yeah, as you said, it all depends if it spawns or not. For example, the problem with Dino and also Swallows is that it's only obtainable through hatching eggs, or if you are a spoofer, which is not allowed in the arena.
You can find plenty of them. They're everywhere.
you will be able to get one. So if somehow Swallows is more accessible, Swallows is going to be like everywhere, because I love dragons. So the more dragons that are in a meta, the better for me. That's why I like Vortex a lot, because Dratini and Swallows and Dragonite are part of the meta and are at the top. So that's why I like it a lot. But yeah, spawns definitely have something to do with our metas. For example, with Jellicent, if Jellicent were like behind a paywall, like an event or eggs, Jellicent would never take part of any of our metas until it's like released for the public, like spawning in the wild or in an event for free. But for example, with Mr. Rhyme was
The dreaded
behind
Mr.
a
Rhyme.
paywall, but it's also pretty bad
Yeah.
in PvP. So we didn't care that much. But with other Pokemons, we cared a little bit more. I guess when they introduced Scraggy and Scrafty, like a year ago, I guess, it was part of the Rose Cup, and we allowed it because it was available in GBL. If it's not, like, we will never agree to let that,
So I guess
Sorry.
Oh, do we need to shut everything down?
No.
I guess being in GBL, it's certainly more accessible, like, to the battler community specifically, which is also, like, obviously, I don't do too much GBL. I'm certainly doing a lot more Silph battles than I am GBL, but had to get up to rank 20 to get the Frillish.
It's hard. Also, a lot of people said that GBL like killed the arena, but I guess it's been super helpful for us. Even if a lot of players have quit the arena, because with the pandemic, with the current situation in a lot of countries, it's not like easy to playing a game like Pokemon Go, which is just a game. You have a life, you have to survive through the pandemic. It's right. You have to quit the arena, and playing GBL is much more easier because it's in the game. You can play any number of games you want, up to 25, of course. You are gaining free Stardust. You can get some Pokemons like Jellicent, Frillish. So yeah, but it helps a lot because it made PvP more accessible to everyone. A lot of resources with the Stardust you gain for every single set you play, and I think that's super positive. Of course, GBL and the arena are not the opposite, but are different metas. I guess are different types of competition. GBL is you don't need to practice that much. You just need to play a lot, try to mechanize, try to understand how the meta develops, and you're gonna get good at some point. But with the arena, everything is changing every single month. So for people that dislike the changes, they always quit the arena at some point because it's super hard to keep up with the constant changes in metas, with what's going on, why we are having like a month off in January, what are regionals, why I have to like learn a completely new meta just for one cup, that kind of stuff. But the arena has its public, has its fan, and I'm grateful with them, like with the people that play in the arena, because the arena would be nothing without the people playing it. Like, of course, there are a lot of us working in the arena trying to make this like a better thing. But if no one is playing the arena, it's just that, So I'm really grateful with the people that take their time to learn a meta, to understand it, to build a team around some picks, playing tournaments. I'm grateful with the communities hosting tournaments. So yeah, it's a good time to be grateful with people making the arena happen, that are basically the players, not us in the arena.
But also keep some appreciation for yourself, because definitely very well deserved. If it were not for the Silph Arena, it is very possible that I would not be playing the game right now at all. I may have ventured off onto greener pastures if it hadn't appeared when it did, especially because I only started 3-4 months before PvP dropped. So I think it just came at the perfect time for me, at least, to go, this is what I'm about now. I'm here for Silph. Oh yeah, ride or die, baby. But yeah, it really has been a lot of fun. So thank you to you and everyone else on the Silph team for all that you do. The legislation team, the everything, just the entire structure. Thank you. And yeah, just hiya. Don't try and thank us, or this will happen. You'll get thanked in return, I guess. But we actually covered a lot of the other questions that some people did have, like the stuff about Ferocious, how involved is, or whether PvPoke kind of gives some special like rankings for the back end while cups are being built, that's kind of one question that is a little bit, maybe we haven't gone into super depth on. Say you've built a cup, you have an idea, you're like, okay, let's try this, and it's just like, this is way too RPS. I guess it's a bit of a two-parter. One, how much sort of play testing is involved when a meta is being produced? Or is a lot more sort of theoretical? Yeah, not enough people to be play testing. It's all sit in PvPoke, do the analysis, etc., etc., etc. And then the part two of the question was, I've already forgotten it. Hey, what was the question that was written down? How do you go about changing a meta? Like, is it just pure iterative? Okay, G-Fisk is too powerful here. Let's hit ban G-Fisk, see what happens. And it's like, because I know back in the end of season 2, when there was that sort of competition to like build the Silph meta for the month, where Circus Cup came out on top, there were a lot of I tried to get it in, like, build a meta, but it was hard stuff. It's some real effort to build these metas up. You're like, okay, I've got this idea, I'm going to go Ice, Psychic, Fairy, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, Wigglytuff beats everything. All right, delete Wigglytuff, and then it's like, oh, well, now Clefable just beats everything. Okay, we'll beat this. Is it, how do you, at some point, going through so many iterations, do you just have to end up going, all right, let's start from scratch, let's can this new idea, we'll go in a different direction entirely? Or how does that kind of go for you, that sort of process?
For playtesting, we have never placed it, like, ever, and I don't know why. I guess because we have the feedback from, well, the meta team, but also we have the feedback from contributors. They usually analyze the meta before it happens, and they are pretty good at getting the course that are going to happen in the meta. So it's pretty easy to know what's going on and what's going to happen with the meta. I think in season, like, second part of season 1 and early season 2, I would love to have a playtester, so I can learn what's going on, what are the interactions between Pokemons, between certain teams of 3. But now I think we are in very good hands, not mine, but the rest of the team, also the contributors, and also the people that plays therein. Like, we already know what works and what doesn't, so it's easier for us now to develop a meta without failing that much. Like, I think we fail a lot at the beginning, and now we're failing less and less. Of course, there's always people like they don't like a certain meta. I usually like to read in Go Stadium or Twitter or our own Discord, local communities, local chats, what people that play PvP and play in the arena have to say about the meta. We just, like, announce, for example, with Vortex or Labyrinth, and I read a lot of good comments for Labyrinth. I read a lot of good comments for Vortex, but also a lot of people that dislike Vortex because it was, hey, Silph is just getting lazy. They are just doing GBL with some bans to the OP Pokemons and the Charmers. Or someone else that said, like, oh, this is Labyrinth 2.0 with more bans. And maybe they are right, but sometimes they are not. But I use that feedback as something to get to, like, have in mind the next time I'm developing a meta. Like, not every single bad comment is bad feedback. Usually there is something there, even if it's just like, hey, this is trash. What is this? I'm not playing this meta ever. Like, behind that there is an idea, and they usually, like, say, hey, this is trash, but it's trash because this, and this, and I am grateful for those comments, even if they are not, like, super nice, because I am like that, like, most of the time. I'm like a trash talker, so I'm kind of used to that kind of feedback, like, to myself and to my teammates. Like, Mel can
what you give is what you get.
Super way to trash it. Yeah. And in terms of iterations, that's exactly what we do. Like, I think that's the only way to create a good meta, that is iterating like over and over until you get something. For example, for Vortex, we started, or I started with, of course, all the like top GBL Pokemons banned, but I left Tropius and Obstagoon and Scrafty open with Umbreon also. And that meta was pretty good in the numbers, but pretty good in the rankings, like were like a lot of picks available. But then we analyzed it and we saw that even if numbers looks pretty good, the cores were pretty much the same always. Like it was Umbreon, Scrafty, Obstagoon, and Tropius was pretty good because everything that countered Tropius were banned. So Tropius was like a must. And even if Tropius wasn't like top 10 at the end of the month, it was for sure gonna be like top tier pick in Vortex. So we decided to ban Tropius, we decided to ban Umbreon, we decided to ban Scrafty, we decided to ban Obstagoon, because they were good enough for the meta, but they were a bit too oppressive for what we wanted. I also tried to ban all the dark types, and that didn't work well because we needed a bit of bulk. If you see Mandibus, it's super bulky. And I think the metas that are pretty good are those where you have a lot of bulky options to have in your team. So it's not heavy RPS, and it's not like you don't have any chances to overcome a matchup. So for example, if you're picking Mandibus and you're playing against not so good matchup, you have the chance to make the clock like pass over the 6 seconds and have the chance to switch over to a better like matchup. You know, having the chance to have a different outcome that is not just like, hey, this is fire, this is water, you're done. But it's basically that. It's basically iterations. With typings is a little bit more difficult because we have an idea before the meta is created. So for example, with Sunrise, because it was the sun, we needed fire types to be in there. But fire types are so bad in this game.
Yeah, there were not fire types being used in that meta.
Yeah, literally the only one is Alola Marowak. It's the only fire type that only does well. So, for example, now that we have Ninetales, Kanto Ninetales, it's good, but it's not good enough because it's just fire type. So it's pretty easy to counter it with any water type, basically. So yeah, it's hard to balance those kind of types. Another types that are pretty good are fighting types or dark types that have a lot of dual types. Like for example, Muk is one of my favorite Pokemons to build a meta around because it's dark type, but it's also a poison type. So it's not weak to fighting. It's not too OP. It has pretty good moveset. It's not too oppressive. So yeah. When certain Pokemons are present in a meta, are present in the top 10, it's like a good signal. If you have certain Pokemons at the top, for example, a Sumaril, that's never a good sign. That's never a good sign.
Uh-oh, we're heading towards a 6. Everyone brings their 6 meta.
I think for Vortex, I did over 20 iterations, I guess. Like banning this, allowing this another Pokemon that I banned, banning these 2. So it's like it was 2 or 3 days like iterating a lot until we got this meta. And this meta was ready super early in the month. Like I usually running late, like at the deadline most of the time, because
it's the 23rd. Well, we'll just send in.
Well, there is something to do. No, it's because when the metas are hard to craft, we need a lot of time, and sometimes you need to take days off, because if you're constantly thinking about a meta, how to make it better, you are not thinking clearly. So I prefer to take like some time off playing another games, not playing Pokemon Go at all, watching, I don't know, whatever, watching TV, whatever that makes me like feel like more clear about what the meta should be for the next month. And I think those metas are also super like pretty good or pretty bad, because when you rush things, what you usually get is something like super well done because you just did like the perfect thing to make it work, or you just get like the worst metas like Forest. Like in Forest, for example, in Forest, we were so busy and so tired that we just went like, okay, what do we do now? Okay, let's make Rainbow happen again. Yeah, what do we do? What do we call it? Okay, Forest. Okay, Forest is out. What happened? The meta was horrible, was trash, and it was because we rushed it, and it didn't went well, and it was what it was.
I think
it wasn't good.
It was the month after Forest, which was Sorcerer's Cup, I think, which was, I think that was the first time that there was a meta development notes that came alongside the meta. And it was talking about kind of what you said before about Bulk, how the problem with Forest that made it so RPS-y is that all of those top meta picks were really like squishy. Your Blazekins, your Garvantulas, they were like, one charge move and they're getting taken out. So it's like in that Sorcerer's Cup notes, it was like, when trying to build this meta, try to put some more bulk in there so there was more, as you said, more opportunities to be able to swap out into other Pokemon that may be able to, the switch timer will go up and then you'll be able to switch to catch a charge move and then totally change the field of play, whether you've lost lead or not. And I mean, that's certainly something that has been seen in like pretty much every meta since then. Obviously, we haven't gone back to a meta like Forest where it was pure squish fest all the time. Games were going for 5 seconds, end of play. So yeah, I think that definitely makes a lot of sense with like Mandibuds coming out in this one. Umbreon of Disguise.
To be honest, for example, Sorcerers was all about Ian's and Matt work. They worked so hard after the Forest hiccup. Like it was pretty bad. So they decided to make a really good meta to close the season. Well, after that we have Catacomb, which was I guess regular, but Sorcerers was pretty good. I really love that meta, and that was the reason we used that for last month, where we repeated Sorcerers again. We some adjustment to make it a little bit better.
Yeah, sure. Yes, Adib Khan asked a question in the chat a little bit ago, and a little bit of a maybe not asking him exactly how he asked, but obviously you've been creating a lot of metas. You said that Rainbow is one of your favorite ones. I guess like there's a lot of kind of nostalgia in there, I guess, for like what went into building that meta. What is your favorite kind of like when you've created a meta, and obviously it's getting received different ways, being played different ways? What is your favorite way that people have kind of like taken an idea that you've created and then like run with it? Like it's just gone. Is it when it goes perfectly to plan? It's like, yes, this was sweet. This is exactly what I envisioned. Or is it like, I did not expect it to go this way, and this was actually really cool. I actually really like how people have ended up going with, Focus plus Hypnos become a thing, whatever kind of deal.
Yeah, I think I'm lucky because I know a lot of good players. We have a lot of good players in Chile, Dusky, and a lot of players that you might know, But I also know a lot of players from other countries like USA or Europe in general. I think you're the first one I know from Oceania, but it's fine, But for example, when I see Frostlass, the first thing that comes to my mind is that this is the best safe swap in the cup ever and forever. Like if Frostlass is there, I like that cup. That's why it's allowed in Vortex, and that's why it's good in Vortex, but it's not oppressive. Everyone knows how to play around Frostlass, and always the first comments I read every time Frostlass is allowed is that, hey, this is my safe swap. This is my safe swap in this cup, and this was my safe swap in this cup. So yeah, but also I really like when people come with new ideas, with like new ways to place the meta. But those are like, I think the number of times I have seen that are pretty small, because usually people try to play what the meta dictates.
Yeah.
And when you play what the meta dictates is when you have more success, I guess.
When I guess, are you talking about things like when there was that triple dragon line that was really big in Timeless? I think those sorts of strategies that appear.
We never expect that. We never expect that. Like, for example, if someone decides to run like Dragonite, Dragonair, and I don't know, Swallows in this meta just because there are no fairy types, it's fine. It's fine, and for sure I'm gonna be surprised. But
you've just made my next video. Triple dragon line.
Triple dragon, yeah. But I guess it only works if you win something. Like if you win a tournament. For example, Kimbar, that won the Silph Arena Showdown, the first one. He was playing with Ferrothorn in Labyrinth, and no one bring Ferrothorn to the tournament, and he just won with that. So I was very impressed, because Ferrothorn wasn't like in everyone's mind like at all, because it wasn't that good, but it was good against the meta that was developed through the month, and also that was played in the showdown. So that's like a good thing. It's also a sign that you can read the meta, that you are not playing a sale, that you choose like your team the first day of the month, and then you play the same team the whole month, even if you were losing, even if you were winning, you didn't change anything. I think it's not a bad way to play, but it's a very lazy one, and that's my way, of course. When I play our cups, I just pick a team and never change it, even if I'm losing like every single match. I don't care. Like, I'm just having fun. But if you are trying to be the very best, you need to learn how to read the meta, to read your opponents, to understand some compositions. For example, for Labyrinth, a lot of people run double counter, especially here in Chile. For example, Jarkowski, which is like top 5 right now in the world, he used like double counter the whole month, and he was very successful with it. And I'm super happy with things like that, because I never expected anyone to be playing like Vigoroth alongside with Hitmonchan, for example. And in Vortex, I have an idea of what a team looks like, but I haven't seen like any real tournaments happen like yet, because in practice you can use whatever you want. You can try a lot of different compositions, different cores, try different Pokemons, but where you can really see how good players are is when they are like facing a real challenge, a 7-round tournament, when they are playing Showdown, when they are playing against like the top players in the world. Like, that's the moment where you see like these weird peaks to like really shine, you know?
Yeah, sure. I mean, Vortex Cup only started like, I think the official announcement came through on the channel was like half an hour before the stream started. For like, Vortex is on, baby. Let's get going. I think, if I'm remembering right. Maybe it just announced the time later on. Actually, no, it's the second here, so it has to be going. Surely, whenever he's the second in Australia, it's like, okay, you guys are at the first, right? Like, surely you've got here. Yeah, we're in March, we can go. But yeah, definitely excited. The showdown is on the 14th this month, I think.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
So I mean, that is exactly when the cream of the crop.
We decided to do the showdowns like not so early in the month, not the first week or the first weekend, because the meta hasn't developed yet, I guess. I mean, besides Jumbo, which is the only person I know that makes a team the first day, use it the whole month, and yet he's like top one in the world.
Keeps winning.
It's winning always. The rest of people needs a little bit of time to build a team that works and that also they are feeling comfortable with. So second weekend, I think it's the best option, because it's not too late in the month where like everyone is tired of playing the same meta. And also everyone is like wanting to know what the next meta is. So they are focusing on what is the next meta rather than focusing in the current meta. So that's why every single showdown from now on is like second weekend, if possible.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. And I mean, certainly, as someone who's making YouTube videos, I know very well that interest dies off pretty quick as we start to go towards that end of the month sort of deal. But yeah, I actually, one question that did pop up, and I think we all know the answer deep down. Will we ever see Mega Pokemon in the Silph Arena? Will they ever appear?
I'm a huge fan of Mega Pokemon. The problem is that in this game, Mega Pokemons are useless because the system was built not bad, but with one goal in particular, which is to help you do a lot of raids and doing them faster. For example, in raid days, just like yesterday for me, like Sunday for you because you are like in the future now.
So it was still my Saturday when we had our raid day. It's a local time. Thank you very much.
but it was like for those moments that were built the system of mega Pokemon in Pokemon Go. But for PvP, I feel like it's kind of pay to win, even if you can get like Mega Energy now. I know it's possible. I know you can get them like pretty easily through quests and through like walking your body or whatever. But it's not the same in PvP. Like those peaks are super overpowered. They are so OP. And even if we allow them in factions, it's not like fair because those who have access to have the Pokemon at level 50 and also Mega Evolve are gonna be like, I don't know, 50% of the time winning the matchup.
I think it's safe to say that they're not going to be appearing in Master League anytime soon. But yeah, I guess
in Great League, I feel like they are not good enough. Like if for example like Mewtwo, like everyone was excited that they were getting like a Mewtwo for Great League. And it's great, like something under
the 1500 mark.
The 1500
always nice,
but it's not very good because it's so squishy that it has like super high attack, but it dies instantly against any other like really good Pokemon in Great League, like I don't know, Swampert, whatever. So we are not allowing them. First, because they are behind a paywall. Also, because they are not available all the time. So, for example, if 1 month we are using, I don't know, Mega Houndoom is super good, but Mega Houndoom is not available in raids nor in task, then we need to ban it.
Because you would need to have that just Houndoom candy stored up, and then it would just be incentivizing everyone in the Silph Arena to be doing every Mega raid.
Yeah, and if we never allow it, people are gonna say like, hey, I did everything to get 2000 Mega Energy for Houndoom, and you never like let us play it. So to avoid that, we just decided to not allow them like at all. And I think it's fine because we don't have like every single Mega evolution yet. We only have like starters and some other like kind of mediocre Pokemon. And to avoid the starters, we just rather not allow them.
I mean, the other big thing is obviously remote extended tournaments, right?
Exactly.
You would need to be mega evolving for every round, and then say you've you match up with an opponent, you mega evolve your Venus all ready to go, and then you do one battle, and you go, oh, I actually have to go. Can we reschedule the rest of these battles for tomorrow?
Literally.
And you're sitting there like, but my mega candy, what do I do now? I stored up just enough to be able to use it for like 7 rounds, and now dunzo. I definitely thought that was the big reason, but you've certainly like kind of widened my scope of reasons why it is not a good idea to have them hanging around in the Silph Arena. But maybe one day there'll be a rework and everything will fall into place for megas to be viable. But
yeah, if there is ever a rework that works fine with PvP besides GBL, we will love to allow them in our metas, but for now it's better to have them waiting there in your bench.
Yeah. And one other sort of, I guess it's not as exclusive as Mega Pokemon, but legacy moves are always well, they used to be a lot more contentious than they are now that we have elite TMs. So are legacy moves still sort of a consideration when you are building a meta as to how accessible they may be? Or is there kind of like an assumption like, you know, elite TMs are kind of flying around now. You can always trade still. There's kind of lots of ways to get these legacy moves now. So it doesn't matter that much anymore.
It all depends on the Pokemon. And it all depends if you're like one TM away or it's like Duon that you need to. So, for example, if Duon
seeking
is too
when you need 3.
Or Seeking. If for example, Seeking or Duon are too oppressive in a meta, we just like ban it because I think it's better and it's healthier for everyone because it's wasting two elite TMs in a Pokemon that you might never use. Like a lot of people use them in GVL, but I don't know. I feel those Pokemon are not good enough. And in the past, every single legacy Pokemon after the Umbreon thing were instantly banned. Like if Duon were present in the meta, even if it wasn't like top 30, it was banned 100% of the time. And with our stuff like Lapras or those Pokemon that had like a raid A where they bring like their moves back, they were allowed only if they were able to get under the 1500 CP
from raids.
Yeah. Now it's easier because Niantic decided to give us all the legacy Pokemon or most of them for free without the need to use an elite TM. So that's pretty good. And it's pretty good for us because it's easier to create a meta without having to worry about all these Pokemons that no one has. Like I have a close friend that is I don't know how to say in English, but he liked to collect every single Pokemon with every single moveset. So he was the only one that had, like, for example, Legacy Charizard for Kingdom Cup.
Well, I've got someone here that like does the same thing, but they did it too late. They did it after all the move updates.
Yeah, but the rest was what, like, I have no access to that Charizard. A lot of people started to search for people that didn't play after 2016 to trade legacy Pokemon. They were always bad for PvP, like with like 15 attacks, 0 defense, 0 HP, and they were.
Don't care. I got my Shadow Ball Haunter.
Yeah, me too. But it was pretty bad for PvP. But right now is a consideration, but it's not that hard to build metas now because we have a lot of good replacements for those Pokemon. For example, Seeking is usually not good. Duon is good, but it's not like the best Pokemon. You have a lot of different options. For example, now in Vortex you have Duon, but you also have Celio, you have Lapras, you have a lot of stuff to cover that position. So we're fine allowing them, and also because at this point, for example, me that I don't play PvP that much, I have like 7 elite TMs like charge and like 5 for fast moves, and I just use one of them to in my like Shundo Mewtwo. That's it. Because I don't play PvP. I guess people that play PvP is short on elite TMs, that for sure. But gratefully, Niantic sell us boxes with elite TMs every single community. So if you are lucky to get one, you have the chance to use your elite TMs. But I think at some point elite TMs will no longer be like useful. Just like TMs, like once TMs were like granted in tier 4, I guess, or right, people stopped complaining. That's good. That's the same thing that's gonna happen with elite TMs. Like,
I mean,
will not use them.
I play PvP, and like, a week ago, I still had 5 elite charge TMs sitting around. So, I finally burned 2 of them in a Labyrinth Cup tournament. Get an elite TM Politoed, get an elite TM Lugia, throw Aeroblast on there. Just like, well, I've got these elite TMs, I may as well finally spend them. But yeah, as you say, it's going to be something that becomes less and less of a problem as we, get those moves that are that we need to elite TM for, we'll have everything built, and then it'll just be a matter of, oh, now I'm just using my elite TMs to improve the IVs of my Shadowbone Marowak sort of deal. So yeah, it definitely makes sense to not put too much stock on legacy moves, as long as they're not, destroying everything, and you're also not able to play
also,
meta.
You never know when Niantic is going to give us like more legacies. Like at some point, maybe they will let us like use just regular TMs for Duo. I guess not, because the investment is already done. So people that did the investment, that buy boxes to get more elite TMs, are gonna be like pissed, I guess, because
when
is giving it for free.
First brought back some of those legacy moves, like they brought back the Shadow Ball Hypno, the Shadow Ball Haunter. They mentioned in that post, I'm pretty sure, that like more things would be coming back in the future. But then they came out with elite TMs, and it's like, well, now they've kind of got
the future,
they've got an incentive to not release any more back into the wild now. So I don't know if we ever will see moves rejoining the move pool. I guess they'll still be around to give like raid exclusive move kind of deals that, something like Ice Shard. What's the move? Ice Shard Ice Beam Lapras. That used to be, a super legacy from way back when, but then it had another raid day resurgence. Things like that might happen. That might cause some elite TMs to not be as well spent as they could have been. But as long as you only spend elite TMs when you need them, you're looking sweet. Like, I used my elite TMs on Dugong when I wanted to use it in a tournament. So it's like, I got use out of it, even if they're going to release those moves in later. But I think that's all of the questions that I had stocked up to talk about the meta. Actually, the important last question is there anything that we haven't talked about from your end of building these metas month after month that you kind of like wish that people knew a little bit more about? They understood more. Maybe you just wish that people were a little bit more patient with the metas coming out, because it's definitely like a big process to make sure that it's correct. So yeah, is there just anything that you kind of want to get out there?
I mean, people usually ask if they can be part of the meta team, or if they can like give us ideas. They usually think we are not open to ideas from the community, or that we just don't read them. That's not true. I usually read what people likes, what people wants to do. A lot of metas are based on certain comments I read on Reddit or Discord or Twitter. Some ideas. We have over 300, I think, or over 400 submissions from
that Circus Cup deal.
Yeah. So
did they get looked at still? Like, I know that they were potentially useful at the time, but
I think for the first half of the season, we take a look. Some of them are pretty much similar to what it was Sunrise and Nightfall, because we only have 18 types, so it's not hard to get Sunrise or Nightfall in some combinations. But there are only limited number of combinations that you can get when you're creating metas. But for example, I usually read a lot of good comments that are done by some of the players that play in the arena, and I try to inspire to get inspiration from them. Usually, the meta never ends being what they thought it would be, because it's really hard. Sometimes it's really hard to balance a meta, but yeah, we really take the feedback. We really use what people say about our metas, about the ideas they have, what we should do in the future. What we not do is just to copy and paste a meta. For example, taking a meta from all those submissions and using them as if it were us creating that. A lot of people say like, okay, Silph is getting lazy, so they are asking people to do the job for them. So after that they are gonna get all the metas from the submissions. They won't have to do anything at all. we have never done that yet, but we will do that in the future. But
obviously,
we could do that in the future.
The meta has shifted in the past number of months. So obviously, a lot of those metas are probably a little bit expired, I suppose, as far as how good they still are in current day. For example, Jellicent is just something that didn't exist back then. So I'm sure that it breaks a bunch of those metas.
And we didn't expect to come like this early, because Niantic was super silent about Jellicent, and they were like, we're gonna release it only like in a super special occasion. So we never expected to be this soon, and we were super happy because Jellicent is pretty good. The typings are so weird, like water goes. What is that? And it's great,
so
because
bulky.
it helps. It helps a lot with the meta creation, having this Pokemon release. I think one of the problems we will have is when they release, for example, X-Latch. That's going to be super hard because that Pokemon is OP.
Yeah, so you're talking beyond my Pokemon knowledge here. Well, I'm sure I've heard the name, but...
Yeah. It's like, I don't know if it's at the same level that Sumaril, and I guess it is.
Oh, no.
So it's an oh-no for us. It's an oh-no for us. And sometimes you really want to use that. But if it's so OP and you can find a way to make it like balanced, you really need to ban it. But the goal is to not ban it, like, always.
Yeah, I mean, also... as someone's just mentioned, National Ball just mentioned in the chat, Weatherall Primate eligible soon. I'm sure it's going to be available in the next meta, right? Confirmed? I'm going to take that as a hard... Oh, dang it. But, yeah, well, thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Keep talking.
Okay, goodbye. The next meta will be... I don't know if it's going to be as good as Vortex or Labyrinth, because the idea behind it is not so clean.
Oh, don't tell it short. Different. Yeah, come on, man, give us some.
It's pretty different from what we've seen this season, at least. It's more about last season. Some of those metas. It's not a whitelist, or that's what I hope.
Well, you've heard it here first. We're getting another meta that's like Voyager, where it's going to be a team building thing. There's going to be different roles, and you're going to have to fill them all.
It's going to be a team building thing. It's going to be a team building thing, like with the restrictions, just like Labyrinth, where you can't like repeat a typing. Or this is going to be something like that. And it was also inspired by someone who randomly said, "Hey, what about if we do a meta with this kind of idea?"
Oh, you know that like after you've said this, people are going to be trawling through the Discords now. They're going to be trying to find this exact comment. It's like, we found the meta. We know now. But
I mean, if you're like Mel, I'm definitely not gonna read you ever.
So just filter out Mel's comments. Look at everything else. But I mean, hype, by the way. I'm really looking forward to it now, because again, as I said before, the team building metas are the ones that I do look forward to. But
yeah, also I just realized YTX Pikachu. I don't know if that's your name, but I really like what you do. Just wanted to say that. Really like what you do. I love that you like to analyze every single meta, no matter if it's GBL, Kanto Cup, or Silph Arena Cups. I really appreciate it, because it helps a lot with the analysis part, where you can see like what Pokemons are more popular, which one are used like in every single team, which one are not so good. So that's the time when I realized, hey, we did something great. We did something pretty bad.
Yeah, we all heart YTX Pikachu here. We are huge YTX Pikachu stans, all day, every day. Absolute legend. As are you, my friend. Thank you again for just making all these metas month after month after month.
Thank you for inviting me before Mel.
I told Mel at some point that we'd have to get her on at some stage, but you've beaten her. And you can hold it against her forever.
At singing. She's very good at singing, so yeah.
We're having another Mel just Mel sings. This isn't Twitch sings anymore. Just Mel sing stream. We're gonna get the licenses to a bunch of songs. We're gonna find ones that are copyright free, and we're just gonna run for the hills. But
I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get banned from this chat.
Oh no, I forgot you had a sword. Oh no. we better run out of here before she has the chance to ban. But seriously, again, thank you for coming on, because I've definitely learned a lot, and I'm glad we can kind of lift up the hood a little bit behind how these metas do get built, because it's definitely something that I've always loved, those behind the scenes articles that have been written in the past about, like, you know, Sorcerer's Cup, for example, just giving some insight into how a meta does come to be, how things changed. As you said before, talking about how, you know, originally you tried to ban dark types. That's just all really interesting to me. I hope I'm not the only one. Obviously, there's, you know, 30 people here that are also listening to you talk about it. So I'm assuming that I'm not the only one that's really interested in just hearing that process, how it kind of all comes out. But yeah, thank you to you and the entire, PvP Stratus, PvP Poke, all amazing people. And also, I think it maybe is a real good sign if you've got PvP Poke or PvP in the name. I think those guys are really cool. But yeah. Thanks for coming on, and thanks to everyone in the chat for watching. Actually, have to do the YouTube outro before we raid off as well. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, especially that subscribe one, taking my patrons and supporters over on Twitch as well, including Mel, who subscribed at the start of the stream, who I didn't actually get to mention in the video chat. I just got to yell Mel in the text chat. But yeah, see you in the next video.